Max, and I am the President and CEO of the National Artificial Intelligence Association, the nation's largest AI trade association. Thank you for being here. NAIA is a 501c6 trade association organized to unite innovators and policymakers to secure America's AI future and promote artificial intelligence. Nothing could be more on point to that mission than what we are doing here tonight. Before getting to our main speaker, I'd like to recognize some of the sponsors and VIPs in the room. First, our title sponsor, Huntington Ingalls Industry, Mission Technology, and their Executive Vice President, Andy Green. And I know they brought a lot of their team here. I'm not sure which table they're at, but thank you. And what a great video. That commercial made me think I should quit what I'm doing and go work for HII. HII was the first Fortune 500 company to join NAIA, and without their early support, I don't think this evening would have happened. So thank you for being here with your team, Andy. Additionally, I want to thank our other sponsors, including Red Cedar Consulting and my good friend Sharad Gamasai, Google Public Sector and their CEO, Karen Duhalt. You can hold Bill at the end. We got a lot of folks. Yes, Karen. One Health Partners and the NAIA board member, Farhad Chowdhury, Einstein AI JV, and Kevin Hamer, as well as all of our other sponsors tonight, including Salesforce, Neuroscale AI, Washington Resources Global, and D-Wave. Thank you for being here. I also want to give a special shout out to Leading America, who's one of the companies that we partnered with to put this event on. If they had not been willing to help us, this also would not have happened. Finally, I'd be remiss if I did not recognize the members of the NAIA board. There are too many to name, there's about 25, but I encourage you to find them here tonight on our website. We would not be here without them, as well as our other gold member companies that joined early, including Oracle, Capital One, Blue Sky Innovators, 540 Group, BTI 360, Quantinuum, Government Acquisitions Incorporated, and many more, companies and startups that have been a great support to our organization. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Now, for the reason that we are all here, the foundation of our industry, the AI industry, is collaboration. Whether it's collaborating among companies using open source AI tools, collaboration with lawmakers to ensure responsible deployment to consumers, or collaboration with the end user to ensure AI is properly addressing their needs, collaboration is key to the successful and effective adoption of the powerful technology represented by the companies in this room. One of AI's strongest advocates within this administration is Secretary Pete Hegseth. Immediately upon assuming his role at the Pentagon, he began looking for new ways to deploy artificial intelligence to equip the warfighter and work to streamline what we all know could be a difficult and long process to adopt new technology within the Pentagon. If anyone has been to the Pentagon recently, I'm sure they have seen the posters of the Secretary plastered everywhere saying, "I want you to use AI." Yes. And I wanted to hang those posters all over the ballroom, but we did not have the budget for that. And as the cousin of two active duty military personnel who tell me that they are daily users of the GenAI.mil tool, I know the Secretary's strategies are working. The Secretary's focus on innovation and efficiency has no doubt enabled artificial intelligence to create a stronger military, and with the Secretary's emphasis on peace through strength, a more peaceful and safe world. It is American-made artificial intelligence that will be able to combat and deter the emerging threats facing our nation. The Secretary understands this and is a champion for the AI industry. He knows the wars of tomorrow will be won, or hopefully prevented, with the technologies coming from the companies in this room. So it is no secret that there are some disagreements on just how to use these tools, especially on the battlefield. But events like this, where NAIA can facilitate an open and honest dialogue with our nation's leaders and industry's advocates, that we can work together on ensuring that America is stronger because of AI. As we celebrate a historic 250th year of our great nation, we must remember that daring to build and do great things is in the American DNA. We have never shied away from our greatest challenges or our differences. So I hope that collaboration between the companies in this room and leaders like Secretary Hegseth will ensure a more peaceful and prosperous America for generations to come. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Secretary of War, the Honorable Pete Hegseth.
Well, good evening. Thank you for inviting me to speak at the inaugural Defense Innovation Dinner, exactly the kind of dinner we need. And Caleb, thank you for that very gracious introduction, but also for bringing together some of the best minds in America's defense industry. Not everyone may think of this room as our defense industry, but I do. That's the lens we have to look at this through. I'm honored to be here. And I'm not going to give a bureaucratic briefing full of platitudes. I'll get straight to the point and share exactly how the Department of War is leveraging artificial intelligence to secure the future of American defense and how all of you can help us. To understand how we leverage AI capabilities, we need to understand why we must dominate it. It starts at the very top. President Trump said it best in his opening statement in America's AI Action Plan. And I quote, "As our global competitors race to exploit these technologies, it is a national security imperative for the United States to achieve and maintain unquestioned and unchallenged global technological dominance," end quote. Artificial intelligence is a key component to our reinvigorated arsenal of freedom, which I've gone across the country to talk about and reignite. It shares a top place in the new era of global competition, along with autonomous systems, hypersonics, space capabilities, and biotechnology, just to name a few. It's very much on that short list and at the front end of it. But why are we so focused on AI? Why does the United States need to be out front of the cutting edge of this new technology? It's because we as Americans, with our partners and allies, are guarded by Western civilization's Christian ethic to protect the sanctity of human life and freedom. Put another way, technological advancement must also advance freedom. We cannot allow godless, state-controlled algorithms of totalitarian rivals to protect military dominance in the digital realm or build a high-tech surveillance state that turns the nightmare of Orwell's 1984 into a reality. As America, we will export the Western stack to represent a secure technological ecosystem built on the principles of freedom. The engine of that Western stack isn't found in some government lab. It's built right here at home. The world's top AI companies, as you know, are right here in the United States, many in this very room. An ecosystem ripe with innovation that no other country can compete with. We have to act quickly to employ capabilities in a military context that upholds Western civilization and the American way of life. Faith, family, patriotism, and the willingness to defend them with the warrior ethos. The Department of War is not bound by the ideologies, political preferences, or corporate constraints of individuals or big tech. We will not have social guardrails imposed by tech companies, limiting AI's lawful use in military applications. Yes, I am talking about Anthropic. Which in just a few months, as we've spoken very openly about, will be fully removed from our building, ripped out root and branch. Are we going to be responsible? Absolutely. Will we follow the law? Absolutely. But allow me to be crystal clear. We're done playing games with equity and inclusion metrics when American lives are on the line. We're building a lethal force in defense of our civilization, not a social experiment. AI is an important and evolving tool in that defense. Our new framework defines responsible AI, a word that gets used a lot, by requiring objectively truthful capabilities that are compatible with the Constitution and the laws governing the War Department. We will continue utilizing AI for all lawful use cases to defend our nation. We will not allow corporate interests to supersede the military chain of command. I once had an individual sit right across from me and my folks and want to tell me that we should call them if we are thinking about using a certain capability to shoot down a missile. The War Department doesn't call individual companies for permission on how to use those tools. We employ the tools and then we ensure they're used lawfully under the bounds of the Constitution. That's how it works, whether it's an F-35 or an AI algorithm. Now, in previous remarks regarding the technological arms race, I've repeatedly warned against the illusion of parity. Our potential adversaries are not holding summits on AI ethics. They are not debating pronouns in their algorithms. They are building autonomous kill webs designed for one singular purpose: to defeat the United States of America. That's exactly why I have directed our department to slash the red tape that has choked American defense innovation for decades. For too long, the procurement process of the Pentagon was a graveyard of good ideas, strangled by risk-averse bureaucrats, endless committees, and lawyers who cared more about process than about winning. When we talk about the future of AI, we aren't just talking about smarter computers, we're talking about national defense and national survival. Recently, the department secured agreements with 8 AI companies to bring many in the room, to bring their capabilities across all of our networks, establishing terms that allow us to employ their frontier capabilities for all useful and lawful use cases. This coalition gives the department immense flexibility and ensures that we're not wedded to one vendor, a single thread to any sole vendor. Make no mistake, this coalition is not just about procurement, it's about American strength. Because the nation that masters artificial intelligence will dictate the terms of the 21st century. And we refuse to let that dictate come from any totalitarian regime. We will no longer tie the hands of our warfighters with endless reviews and hand-wringing. If a technology makes our troops more lethal, makes our targeting more precise, and brings our men and women home safely, we will unapologetically deploy it, period. We aren't just, of course, talking about the future, we are actively building it. Building on the foundation of America's AI action plan released nearly a year ago, we started small, but are expanding quickly. As was mentioned, we have, against my best judgment and my knowledge, plastered posters of me pointing at you at the War Department. It's true, it's a little awkward walking by yourself. Launched last December to announce GenAI.mil. The campaign has been wildly successful. In less than 6 months, the campaign has attracted over 1.5 million unique users who have generated more than 77 million prompts. The launch of GenAI.mil focused on improving the department's use and access to AI. But more importantly, it familiarized our team with its vast capability and allowed AI to be incorporated into our everyday problem-solving and organizational toolkit. We may have been behind, but with the level of focus we're putting into this, we plan to not just catch up, but get ahead, and get ahead quickly. As we put these tools into the hands of millions of warfighters, let's be clear about what this rapid adoption actually means. AI will never replace the gut instinct of an American combat commander, and it's not replacing the trigger puller on the front lines. AI is an apex tool, a lethality multiplier, designed to make our warfighters faster, deadlier, and completely dominant on the battlefield. To operationalize that battlefield dominance, we aren't just throwing tech against the wall. We have a focused and aggressive roadmap that integrates it at every aspect of our operations. The War Department's AI acceleration strategy is built on three foundational pillars designed for rapid and scalable deployment. The first, not surprisingly, is warfighting. How do we develop the technology and the policy to directly enhance combat effectiveness, tactical planning, and kill chain execution? We're already seeing results from pace-setting projects across the Joint Force, such as Swarm Forge. In January, in Florida, a drone swarm provided AI-enabled capabilities to commanders on the ground to locate and destroy targets, the first ever kinetic drone swarm strike on U.S. soil. Ender's Foundry is another project that gives our troops the tactical warfighting edge. For too long, our training simulations have been hampered by outdated input and algorithms. Ender's Foundry dramatically upgrades our simulation, warfighting craft with AI-enabled feedback loops and scenario development. The next pillar, and it's a big one, is intelligence. Transforming vast multi-domain data into real-time situational awareness, something have been doing, well, I guess until tonight, in and around the Straits of Hormuz. What our adversaries recognize and every other military in the world envies is our ability to synthesize data and intelligence in real time in ways that was almost unfathomable just 2 years ago. I mean, the idea that a plane takes off, it knows what targets it's going to hit, and it hits those targets. Now, planes take off without targets, and dynamically, through that synthesis of the ability to close the kill chain, identified the most important targets in real time and strike those first. You do that because you have the best intelligence and the ability to synthesize it with the assistance of AI. We have an asymmetrical data advantage over our adversaries from decades of military intelligence operations, but right now that information is too often siloed or forgotten across multiple unique program databases. Treasure troves of data sitting out there. And another example is our efforts through Operation Southern Spear and the data that was involved in drug smuggling for designated terror organizations. We brought in capabilities that hadn't been focused in that area, and by synthesizing existing data, some of which U.S. law enforcement data, and rapidly analyzing it, the targeting speed was unlike you could otherwise do when a new element comes into a new domain. Open Arsenal is our latest pace-setting project that breaks down those legacy walls. It will exploit the technical intelligence of our adversaries' capabilities into accelerated weapons development. So you got warfighting, intelligence, and the third pillar, and in some ways the most groundbreaking, is enterprise. Because it will modernize operational, logistics, and administrative processes to increase the department's overall organizational agility. Now, I already mentioned GenAI.mil with its over 1.5 million users. The War Department will continue to put these world-leading AI models directly into the hands of our 2.9 million civilians and service members. As we talked about backstage, last month, Google's Gemini 3.5 Flash model was deployed on GenAI.mil on the same day as it became commercially available. That tie gives you away. Eliminating the historical delay between private sector and defense application. We'll accept nothing less than true commercial parity for our warfighters. Our enterprise-level efforts reinforce our most important pillar, which is warfighting. Our warriors on the ground, and I hear this because I hear back from, I'm not just hearing from two-star generals and tech experts. I hear from staff sergeants and captains who are using this. Our warriors on the ground using GenAI.mil in new and innovative ways at the operational and tactical levels. In fact, we've got some tiger teams of young, ambitious Army captains and lieutenants and others who are using it inside their formations, tinkering with it, experimenting it, sending it straight to my office, the Office of Secretary of War, so that we can then push the best ideas and force them into formations in real time. The Army's 18th Airborne Corps cutting countless man hours from their operations order drafting process. Anybody who's been involved in operations order drafting process knows it's similar to Chinese water torture. I mean, developing a large-scale order in 6 weeks versus 9 to 12 months. And this whole group is familiar with those types of reductions. In fact, in many ways, usually those reductions are even more dramatic. Taking things that take years or decades can take days or weeks or even minutes. The Air Force leveraged GenAI.mil to automate 72-hour weather forecasts, replacing their manual 2-hour number 2 pencil aggregation process. They don't really use number 2 pencils, but possibly. You never know. I mean, listen, the Pentagon's an incredible building, one of the largest in the world. We run the largest bureaucracy in the world. You would be stunned where in some cases how many processes have existed to justify their own existence for a very long time. The incentive is completely against innovation. Jobs are maintained in order to prevent innovation. So I joke about 72-hour weather forecasts with a number 2 pencil, but somewhere inside the Pentagon, there might be a human being giving a 72-hour weather forecast with a number 2 pencil. That's what we have to get at. But God bless that individual. It's just a sample of the types of things we are getting at. But think about weather. Weather's a great example, actually. It may seem trivial. It's not. The Maduro raid was entirely premised on weather. I spent the entirety of Christmas to New Year's shuffling between my home, the Pentagon, Washington, D.C., and Mar-a-Lago to be where the president was. And ultimately, we had a trigger-based operation that effectively depended on the weather. It was where is the individual, where was Maduro that evening, and what did the weather look like based on the cloud deck, based on the route of the helos. And listen, obviously, Southcom and our special operators have sophisticated weather models, but you could foresee the ability to model these things out. And eventually it was some models that they built that allowed us to anticipate that the weather wasn't going to break the way that we wanted. And new routes had to be developed in order to give the president, again, this is all about giving the president the options he needed. And so they actually went back and rerouted to a 3rd and 4th route that factored for what the weather conditions would actually be based on an even more accurate forecast, based on a synthesis of data that hadn't existed over Venezuela, because we hadn't been looking at Venezuela. We'd spent a lot of time looking at Iraq, and I could tell you what the weather was going to be 15 years from now in Iraq. But our models hadn't been looking at South America. So we had to quickly synthesize in even more information, and if you're doing it over 72 hours with a number 2 pencil, you're not going to give the warfighters exactly what they need when they need it. But if you're leveraging AI inside your systems, you create the options that allow for January 3rd, where commanders took acceptable risks because they understood what was in front of them, because they modeled it out to a level of specificity I can't share in this room because of some exquisite capabilities that they have, but it was enabled by speed. Without the speed of what AI and other models can do, you can't do that. So what sounds like a weather forecast on local news is a lot different when it comes to the skills of what our men and women are capable of doing. So where does the War Department go next with AI initiatives? We have many active pace-setting projects and more in the works, but we also stay focused, as I mentioned, with everything we do on lethality under human command. Again, AI does not, because ultimately all those models on the Maduro raid with absolute resolve led to a decision from a highly qualified human being using the best of his judgment. So you never replace the judgment of commanders and leaders on the ground, and we won't hesitate in employing AI capabilities and getting them into hands of those leaders to drastically enhance the precision of their decision-making. With the stakes as high as they are on a raid like that, we can't afford to wait, and we can't afford to get it wrong. President Trump's recent executive order on promoting advanced artificial intelligence innovation and security gives us precisely the mandate that we need. One of the best things about working for President Trump is that he opens the aperture through setting a clear standard of where we should run, and that allows our department to run fast. So every EO that he's pushed out has given us the top cover to do even more and run faster in that department. That's all I've ever wanted as a junior leader. our commanders at the top who gave clear guidance and then the latitude to run with it and be effective underneath it. And that's what these EOs have done for us at every step. That EO commanded us to move at unmatched speed, and the War Department has been answering the call. But as we run fast, we're also going to run secure. Lethality on the front lines is worth little if we allow our secrets or our best practices to be compromised. It's an important balance that, again, requires human judgment and sometimes issuing people out of the building. We must harden our department and protect American ingenuity from exploitation and cyber attacks. The rapid evolution of AI requires us to work together between the public and private sectors to safeguard our national security. But we can't secure that tech without securing the patriots who build it, and that's why we're actively collaborating with the Office of Personnel Management's U.S. Tech Force Initiative. There are many ways to serve our great republic, and we have many ongoing efforts to recruit and embed premier technical talent to modernize the War Department from within. So to this room, I say we're taking applications. No, I mean, we're taking very seriously the need for talent at every echelon, recognizing that working for the Defense Department of old had all the harbingers of Luddites. And we want to instead be running as fast as we can with the best of tech and the best of talent in this space. And so doing everything we can to incentivize that has been a huge priority. Our ultimate, no offense to Luddites at all, our ultimate goal is clear: to fundamentally shift toward an AI-first warfighting force. AI-first warfighting force. Not secondary, not in the background, not something we think about later, AI first. And to maintain our strategic edge and secure the future of American defense, advanced technology can no longer be an afterthought. It must be deeply integrated into our operational planning and our execution at every level. To the industry leaders and brilliant minds gathered here tonight, we are issuing and continue to issue a direct call to action. We need you to maintain your unwavering commitment to our national security. We are calling upon you to lead with speed. I'm going to change the order of what's on my paper here. Calling you to lead with speed, with relentless technological innovation, and third, with patriotism. The good old-fashioned word that for a little bit too long, this country forgot about. We thought we could outsource capabilities, offshore everything, and hope that it wouldn't matter. And in this realm, we dominate right now. In this realm, we're ahead. In this realm, we have capabilities that no other country has. It is our responsibility as patriots of this nation to not only maintain that lead, but to enhance that lead and ensure that in every place, whether it's our economy, it's our national security, that we're utilizing it effectively and responsibly, and that's going to require patriotism. And I've had a chance to meet so many great, incredible patriots in tech who say, hey, I want to make sure we use these incredible capabilities on behalf of the good guys. The defense of our homeland depends on the ingenuity of the American private sector, working hand in hand with our military. Our reform efforts in acquisition and sustainment, we've got a great leader there over at A&S, Mike Duffy. If you don't know him, get to know him. He's incredible. And of course, in our research and engineering, where we have another fantastic leader of R&E, Emil Michael. If you know Emil, you love him as well. I mean, these two guys were tailor-made for the positions that they're in. They're pursuing the kinds of generational reforms their departments have required, pushing out a lot of the distractions in the process and the bureaucracy, cutting the red tape so that we can bring in as many new entrants as possible across all the sectors that we're in. We're always asking of industry, what do you need to get in? Meeting with new and emerging companies, how do we help you break in? In the past, you had to sue your way into the Pentagon. No more. We want to fundamentally overturn that viewpoint. I'm actually not kidding. If you know the story, you know the story. I mean, there's been a prime-dominated vendor-lock system that effectively creates government appendages of the Pentagon. And these companies do amazing work for us. So I'm not here to criticize all the wonderful things that a lot of those companies create, but we need more than that. in order to unleash the arsenal of freedom. We need new companies, we need new dual-use companies, we need new defense companies, we need new tech companies, and we need to be the kind of department that welcomes those new entrants, incentivizes the competition, and then chooses the best, not just the one with the most lobbyists. And that's the kind of approach Emil takes and Mike takes, and we take across the spectrum. We will open the doors of our Pentagon to any company with good ideas and a willingness to help, and we hope you will take advantage of that, everyone in this room. We're going to arm the American warfighter with the absolute best AI on the planet. But make no mistake about it, the War Department is writing the rules for the next era of combat. Stand with us, partner with us, and let's ensure one important thing: decisive and unapologetic American victory on the battlefield on behalf of the people we are charged with defending. So thank you for what you do. God bless you. God bless our great republic. Thank you.